Well, her decisions as a direct impact shut down all of those places, and a lot of people went out of a
Yeah,
job. And
but she did
that's
not actually shut them down.
she didn't shut them down. It's not like she ordered, yes, these places must shut down, but she pulled support of those industries.
Well,
Yes.
great.
I don't know what happened with a big steel work in Scotland. With it was built technology, everything in like 1980. It was so
Live on
inefficient
YouTube.
that it was unbelievable. But I do remember by the end of the 1980s that it was cheaper to buy steel girders for building, a warehouse extension from Japan and have them shipped to the UK than it was to buy British steel. Japanese steel workers get a higher wage than British steel workers. It's not if it was Bangladeshi steel where people get 75 pence a day, I could understand. But it wasn't, it was Japanese steel.
That seems crazy that such a relatively small island with very minimal natural resources directly of their own, relatively speaking, uh,
Yeah.
could do that. You know,
Yeah, it turns out the UK is massive. Wait,
that's just crazy.
Japan and the UK are very comparable size.
Oh, are they? I didn't. I guess my geography isn't the best then. Okay.
To a certain, if you were to look at the land area, I think Japan might be a bit smaller, but not by
Mm-hmm.
much.
Not really. Okay.
But Japan has an awful lot of mountains, so it's livable area.
Yeah,
It's
I was about to
Right.
say that as well. Japan, livable because of the terrain.
Okay, Japan, not by much.
Yeah, but Japan is also a tiny country. It's like we're a tiny country.
Yeah.
The UK wanted an empire, more
Okay.
country.
So I
when
don't
you look at the size of the UK and the size of the
testing.
armies that we
Okay. Go ahead.
maintained
Mm-hmm.
in the areas, countries are absolutely pathetic. The rest of the world must have been.
Oh, it was just the most organized area. I'm thinking. Well, except for well, like parts of Asia.
Well, I
But
mean,
that came
France
around
provided
too.
competition.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because France was one of the first countries to really become like an organized, unified country. Meanwhile, places like Germany and those kind of areas were divided in clans.
Okay.
Yeah, it was only in 1948 that the German independent states that used to make up the Holy Roman Empire started to group together to form what we now call Germany.
Oh,
Under
did you say
Prussia.
1948? Did you mean 1848?
Yeah, I did mean 1848. In case if I did say
Yeah,
1948, yeah.
I
close
was a
enough.
bit confused there. Because Winston
Yeah.
Churchill didn't say we are at war with Prussia.
No.
Oh man. Alrighty then. Well, for anybody that might watch this recording, yes, we've been talking about all kinds of shit that has nothing to do with cyberpunk. But that's okay. Oh man. Yes, I'm sleep deprived. I have a extraordinary lack of caffeine or anything, but I'm going to try to continue to forge ahead. So I fixed YouTube. We are live on YouTube now, I think. As long as I don't click to chat or look at chat on Discord, then the video will hold up. We'll be okay for Impulse there. And we got audio. I've actually got the game loaded. Oh my gosh. Could we be ready to start, maybe? Okay, where the hell were we 2 weeks ago? Where did we leave off? Where we were. You guys have
I was
finally
being
gotten
shot
out of
at
the
on the
hope?
street.
Right. You were in the middle of the firefight. You've been shot twice, right?
Yep.
And you've got the eyeballs are coming your way. The network is seeing the numbers on that little analog dial that they use. I don't know, are just flipping like freaking crazy. The pirate stations are coming up online and rebroadcasting your feed as well. And we've got, oh man, okay. I know. I'm sorry. I got it. Like I said, I got a slow start today. I spent nearly 30 hours in a row, give or take, maybe not quite that much, doing a crash course teaching myself AWS and cloud servers and cloud web hosting and all that kind of stuff. And then I tried to go to bed, and one of my kids decided I needed to stay up. So it's been fun. It's been fun, man. Anyway, trying to get back to the subject. I'm just going to go around the screen I've got from Discord because that's as good a place to start as any. Impulse, where were you when we left off? Where was Mirage? Oh, and I can't hear anybody now.
I mean,
Impulse.
I was
Ah.
muted, but I
Okay,
was
that was it.
upstairs at the place that the person who like runs the building or whatever.
Right, you guys had all, well, not all. Stringer was still out in the firefight. Impulse, you were there. Sewer Rat, were you on the at the penthouse walking in?
Yep, I went up the elevator.
Okay. And I think Kevin, you were there too. I know you may not be able to respond though. Oh, you
I
can.
was
Okay.
there.
You were there. Okay.
I was there. Yep.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were able to talk at this point.
No, I'm good now.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Excellent. So, in that case, oh man, this is gonna be good. Okay. Well, come on, roll to now. Well, Tony will cooperate with me. So I'm going to switch over to the portrait because, although it's maybe there, I think we might try to make that a little smaller because that's just huge. So anyway, yes, maybe. Oh, come on. There we go. So yeah, it's Braish. He comes in. You guys are there. We got the firefight. Let's make sure I got everything straight on this side. I think I do. Okay. So yes, he welcomes you in. We're kind of gonna because we're still split, so we'll go back and forth between everybody else and Stringer out in the field. Oh, good. Hmm. Oh, I thought somebody said something. Okay, so
No, I,
yeah,
I said the fuck when that noise came on.
oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Sounded like a point.
I don't know. Okay, that's okay. A low-flying
if it's
AV goes
strange
over the
noises, it's
building.
probably me with all the motors and sirens and whatever. So if there's a strange noise, just assume it's me. Just blame me. It's fine.
Right. Okay. Very good. Yes, that makes sense. That the person with the most weird background noises going on would be the person streaming more than the rest of us combined the last couple weeks. That makes sense. Perfectly makes sense. Okay. Oh man. Okay. So yes, you guys walk in. Raish is there. He does have some cables coming out from the back of his neck. Are actually they're disconnected. It's like it's almost like he had been recently connected, but his clothing and stuff is kind of messy actually. It kind of unkept looking. And he does say that he comes here and says, "Welcome in, welcome to my home." He says, and kind of motions everybody in. You got this big entryway foyer area. Um, actually, kind of more opulent. Oh, not quite opulent might not be the right word, but very nice. Much nicer than you would maybe expect for just a netrunner that is of this class. Maybe. But on the other hand, he could probably, either one way or another acquire almost anything he wants with the net the way it is. But he brings you in, he brings you into a living room space, and when he invites everyone to sit down. Are you going
Yeah,
to?
I'll take a
Oh,
seat.
yeah.
Why not? If he's offering, it would be rude not to. It'd be awkward. And I'm gonna stand up. I take a seat. Why not?
I'll have a seat.
You're gonna have a seat as well. Okay. Is anybody not gonna go ahead and have a seat somewhere? In the there's two good sized plush couches, and there are four like wingback chairs as part of this relatively large living room space.
I'm going to sit in the most durable looking chair.
Okay. You may or may not notice, anybody who's technically inclined with sure would, every seat, every place you might sit in this space, there's within easy reach, there's a set of jacks where you could plug in. A regular interface, standard interface cable type jacks. Um, there is, if you look a little closer, there's actually not only the jacks that you can plug into, they're the standards, but there's actually a set of cables built into each spot. So anywhere you're sitting, you could just grab a cable and plug in if you wanted to. And but he takes his seat, and as soon as he sits down, he actually does that. He actually grabs one of those cables and jacks in. It doesn't seem to change any. He doesn't change his demeanor or anything, but he does plug right back in. He says, "I've got to keep an eye on my volunteers. Uh, Things are moving faster than I anticipated, but I wondered if you guys might be interested in a job. I'm in need of a team,
Here. Here.
and since you all live in my building, I thought I should offer it to you first. I've been watching all of you. Yes, very ominous, creepy even
That's not
sounding.
very disturbing. Yes, I was going to say that's not disturbing at all.
Go.
Yeah, creepy.
Just a bit. Um, he says, some of you've been doing very well, and some of you maybe not so much, and some of you better than, well, some of you that aren't here have been doing extremely well. In fact, and his eyes he kind of looks up at the ceiling for a few seconds, and Stringer, you're getting a phone call.
Yeah.
If you're interested in taking it.
I'm under fire, so no.
You're not going to take it. Okay. Okay. I understand, but it seems that Stringer, and actually as he says that, a panel comes up out of there's one end of this where there's a large wall panel display. It's absolutely freaking huge. It's got to be 200 inches across. The whole panel was displaying an image of a very inappropriate to the rest of the room's design. Classic fireplace and mantle and all that stuff. And all that goes off the screen, and Stringer's broadcast comes up on the screen. Seems Stringer might be too busy to take a call at the moment. He is getting some excellent video, though. So would
That's what he does.
Yep. So would you would all of you be interested in doing some work, making a few
Well,
euro?
I'm not going to agree to a job without knowing what the job is and what kind of pay it would entail.
Yes, yes. It would definitely been called entail some decent pay, and it would entail further annoying the three corporations, or at least one at a time, that you seem to have disagreements with. Well, he says, I admit I do too. He kind of thinks about it for a second. Well, actually, I have disagreements with pretty much every large corporation and a bunch of the small ones too, for some reason. But anyway, so yes, basically, they have Arasaka and Militech have started their little war a bit earlier than I'd planned for them to become upset with each other. But that's the way it happens. I understand that you guys had to send your information over to InfoComp and trying to save the area. But I'm not sure that could really happen without much short of a very major, very large attack. And I need more information that I can't get from cameras, and I was hoping that you guys would be willing to attempt a break-in. A break-in might not be the word. A infiltration might be the right word. Infiltration at Militech and then at Arasaka. Not on the same day or anything, of course, but I need some people inside and need some access to areas I haven't been able to acquire just through the net. So I was hoping you might be able to help with that, and that you might be interested in, for your own needs, for your own purposes as well.
So this job, so you just need people on the inside of the mega corporations, or are you looking for people to go in and take something specific?
Oh, take some things that are very specific, and leave some things that are very specific. He actually he's sitting in one of the high back chairs. He actually will reach underneath the chair, and he pulls out two briefcases. Two slightly, not huge, but slightly largish, two briefcases. Not the really, there's some that are like a few inches thick and really slim and all that are made, more as an accessory. These are actually probably functional style. They're, I don't know, 6 or maybe 8 inches deep. But he pulls them both out and sets them down. He says, I'd like one of each of these to be left at each site, each place, and some other electronics to be connected at each place in their data centers.
Okay, I'm guessing the list of items that you're going to want taken, you'll have a list of them? Or
Oh yes. I'll provide you with the full list. There's some things from there's some things electronics that will need to be left in hooked up at a data center at each facility. Um, there's some other electronics and things that I'd like to be brought back out, and then of course, as I mentioned, I'll provide you with an exact spot in each building to leave the briefcase. And of course, the briefcases should be concealed. We wouldn't want them found prematurely, or someone to tamper with, because that could be. Yes, it could definitely be an issue. So, what do you think?
When
And
you say when you say that the job will pay fairly well, just how well
Mhm.
is this paying? Because breaking into two of the mega corporations, and then also,
well, you
but Arasaka and they're not pushovers.
you've already been to Robert Roberts, so you shouldn't have any trouble with their office and getting to their data center. We don't have a briefcase for them though. They're, it is a mall after all. But well, I would 50,000 euro each per job per facility be sufficient?
I think that works for me.
And of course, I'd like Stringer to be a part of this deal if he's available and is interested. Um, I get the impression he doesn't like me. He doesn't seem to be answering my calls, although I understand he's busy as well. He's kind of tied up at the moment. Um, but as you guys are having this, I'm going to switch over to Stringer for a moment. Um, actually, as you guys are talking, another camera angle comes up on the display, which I'm going to describe as I switch over to Stringer for a minute. Stringer, yes, you're
Yep.
still under fire. It's like a war zone, and you're like, how long can this really go on for, uh, considering the location and stuff? But it just seems to keep going. It just there's constantly rounds still flying by your head, hitting the burning car. I believe. Were you still next to the car that was on the vehicle that was on fire? I think when we left last,
No, I'd moved from there to somewhere else.
you had
But
moved to
I can't
another
remember where.
vehicle. Okay,
Yeah, because it
but
was burning lower and lower.
right, it was going to be the fire was going to be an issue for you soon. Okay,
Yeah.
so you still have that. As you're continuing to try to maintain some cover, I know you're hunting around. You said I believe you were looking for somebody on one side that looked like they were in charge. Which
Someone, a Militech officer rather than just.
Militech, right? Okay.
Yeah.
As you are still hunting around, which you're gonna go ahead and roll an awareness notice again, and we'll see if you can spot somebody. I'll just roll. I'll roll against you probably, and we'll come up with something. See if somebody's available. But as you're doing that, well, actually, I should let you roll first. Is there something else you may catch? Oh, maybe.
Yeah. 24.
24. Well, 20 would definitely do it. Probably do both of these actually. There. Um. Okay. So first of all, you will notice there is a drone. It's a fairly large drone. It's about 4.5, 5 foot across. That isn't far. That just kind of flew in very quickly, and then now is hanging out not too far from your position, and it's obviously a camera platform.
Any logo
Okay.
on
I'm sorry it broke up. What did you say?
the logo
Oh, any
on the
logo on
drone?
it? Actually, okay. I'm gonna roll a couple of things while we're at it here. Okay. Yes, there is a Militech logo on it. It actually has, so it's obviously a pretty heavy camera platform. Um, it looks like there might be some weapon on it too, but it's a big a sphere underneath it, which several different lenses and stuff. One of those gimbal type, spins around, can look in all directions kind of thing. But yeah, it's a Militech device actually, and you will actually notice back a little bit further off from where this intersection. The intersection seems to be the primary spot. Um, it's just one of those weird things. You got Airsock and Militech, you got the local police, and another group or two a gang or two that are all just they picked this intersection, it seems, to try to fortify some some cover, and are shooting at each other. It's just that's what's happening there still. And the camera comes up, but back away. You are kind of heading straight into it. You're trying to get closer to the intersection, but off back a little ways on the one side, there is actually a Militech CNC vehicle. Not really an RV, kind of, but bigger than a van. Big box truck, or not big, but a small to medium box truck kind of thing. But it's one of those CNC vehicles.
Yeah.
It's got all kinds of antennas on it. It's got the Militech logo across it. It's heavily armored. I cannot think. As I was describing, I was trying to remember the model. It kind of looks like that vehicle that we're using is being used instead of the Humvee because it has better armor and stuff. That looks kind of like a small box truck, kind of. Anyway, that's what it is. It's all. It's
Is that the one that that they seem to have been palming off on police departments?
Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I know
that it looks like, it kind of looks like something like that, but of course there's been a lot of changes in materials and so on. But it's that type of vehicle.
Yeah.
But it's off. It's a little bit. It's off to one side. It's further back from the action. So you came in from one side, and you just came in from the wrong angle to see it as you approached, and then you were past it before you realized it. And then as you were moving around trying to find other cover, now it's within your line of sight over to one side and behind you.
Okay, I shall wait until there's a slight lull in the gunfire, or at least a lull in the gunfire going in my direction.
Right.
Then I'll head towards the command truck.
Hopefully they reload hopefully several more than one group will have to reload at the same time. Is the idea.
Yeah.
No. So you got your dodge and escape. You can just roll one dodge and escape. As you get the first one, assuming you make that one okay, you got 2 to 3 combat rounds to make it to the truck, to this vehicle, but you only have to roll the once. Once you get a little bit further from the action, you're not as in immediate danger unless somebody was aiming at you.
Yep, 15.
You scraped by. Several as soon as you break cover and start running, you don't know how many, a crap load of rounds from some kind of automatic weapon. It's got to be a couple of hundred rounds are like spraying the ground all around you as you're running. What's the second? That's weird. It's not showing me what the rolls are for. Are those both?
Those dodge and escapes, yeah.
Oh, okay. You actually needed one dodge and escape. Once you got a little bit further from it, unless somebody was aiming at you, you were good. You were good on the first one. But the first one was
you did 3.
No, it's going to take 3 combat rounds to get to the truck, but you only need one. Only the first round did you need a dodge and escape for. After that, you're a little bit further from the action. You're not being targeted per se. The 15 was your target number, though. So that first roll, there's a number of rounds that are really close to you. You don't get hit. You get hit by some like concrete that's breaking up and stuff like that. There you go.
Weird how it's not coming up with the name for dodge and escape, but it did when I just tried doing done.
I was going to say you're going to do like the electric slide between your cover and the truck or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Something like that. Okay. So After a few, I'm going to just kind of go back around here a little bit, but so you'll
Oh.
get to the
Way and moonwalk. Stop halfway.
moonwalk, right? As, as you, so you are getting further from the action. So you're the angle that you're able to shoot, your camera angle isn't quite as good from over here, but you are going to make it to the truck. There are several Militech. I say security, except that they're in full military uh, um, uniforms and armor and weaponry and all that. These aren't just like building security. These are much much more well equipped than that. But anyway, there's several of them around the area of the truck. As you approach, you are definitely going to get challenged. So, are you going to do or say anything particular as you approach?
Yeah, as I approach, if they challenge me, I'll identify myself as being Stringer from Channel 23.
Well, you'll get as you approach, two of them will rank right around the vehicle. As you get closer, you can see five standing down the long side of the vehicle, and there's at least 2 to 3 on the front, which is the vehicle's kind of at an angle to the way you're approaching. You can't tell, but you would assume there's at least that many around the other side. As two of them from the side come up to meet you, the others that are on that side kind of spread out more and take up evenly spaced ish again. But they both approach you. One of them puts his hand up. He's like, "Stop! This is a restricted area. You're not allowed to approach. What do you want?"
Oh shit, I thought it was a free fire zone.
Well, if you'd like, and they both kind of start to raise their weapons. As soon as they start to raise their weapons, all the guards that you can see along near the truck start to raise their rifles. And they're all starting to point them at you. That's okay. We don't have to talk. I thought I recognized you from the news and stuff, but if you'd rather it was just a free fire zone, we can do that.
Yeah. Well, I was just hoping for a comment or two on the action.
Well,
Yeah. Maybe
I've
from one
been
of your officers rather than one of the grunts.
well, the officers, if there are any here, are kind of busy right now. What's your name again?
Stringer.
That's right. I thought I recognized you. Hmm. You do that show. Okay. All right. He motions to the other guy. Why don't you call it in? See if they want to talk to the press. Okay, so we're gonna pause there for yours. We're gonna come back around to the penthouse. Yep. Okay. Okay, back at the penthouse. So he's been basically as you guys are having this conversation, he will pull out some other electronic bits, just a couple of different sizes of the small boxes, and just no logos, no brand names on them, no nothing. They're just plain looking boxes. And small hand-ish, fit in your hand, definitely fit in somebody's hand. Size items. And he says, "I'm going to need 2 of each of these plugged in at each of their facilities. I'll provide you with the list of things that need to be removed, and of course you'll need to find a good spot for one of these." He pats the briefcases at each facility. What do all of you think?
So the things that we have to remove,
Mm-hmm.
will we know? Will we know what they are, or specifically tech? Because I'm not sure what our technical knowledge is.
Oh, I'm sure that can be handled. There's it won't be hard to locate. Well, no, I won't. I can't say that won't be hard to locate because I can be able to find it on the net for sure. I know they have them. They're backups of their data, of their databases, and I'm certain I've been able to find references to their backup routines, and I know there's at least 2 to 3 backup sets that are on site most of the time. As they in process, they ship out a set periodically, and some stay on site. But I haven't been able to find where inside the building they keep these things.
Well,
But
you want us to remove the whole backup databases?
the whole backup set. Yeah, it shouldn't be too large. Uh, if if I'm correct in the format and the chips they're using and so on, it shouldn't be more than, oh, let me see. And some images flip around on the screen, and then he comes up with this thing that looks like a big, like the trolleys, the little things they use at airports to haul luggage around. That's all boxed and covered. Shouldn't be anything bigger than maybe something like that. Maybe might be 2 of those, something like that. Shouldn't be too bad. There'll be means to transport them there because they do transport them periodically off site. So it shouldn't be too difficult. You're all accomplished in your specialties.
Of course. Hmm. Good. I'm pretty sure that I'm good for it, but naturally, I can't speak for everyone. And I can't do.
I'm sorry. I guess it cut out. I didn't.
What? It cut
Oh,
out when I was
there you are.
talking?
I think it cut out when you were talking because it seemed like you were about to say something and then I didn't hear anything.
What was the last thing you heard?
I think you were saying something you were good. You were going to be good for it, and then it seemed like you were
Yeah.
going to say something else.
Yeah, I said I'm good for it. I'm good for it, but I obviously can't speak for the others, and I can't do it alone. So
Well, what did the rest of you think then? Any kind of motions to you guys? To the rest of those in the room?
Well, I don't think I'm entirely qualified for job.
Oh, I think there's a very good chance of fairly heavy resistance, and that's
Yes,
something
but
you're quite well qualified for.
preferably it would be a stealth operation, am I correct?
Well, preferably, but I doubt that it'd. Put it this way: if you guys could all get in and get out and do these things and not have any confrontation, so much the better for everyone involved. But that seems rather unlikely.
Hmm.
Actually, as you guys are doing this, somebody comes out, walks into the room, and normal looking person, everything walking normally, all that, not one of the zombie types, comes out and walks around, and starts offers everybody something, as if you guys want something to drink. Well, actually, each of you individually, if you would like a refreshment, and we'll sit down a tray on the little coffee table, little table, and by each seat of cheese and crackers and some little meats and stuff.
God, that's fucking expensive.
He says, this is yes, this is one of my volunteers." He says, "That's okay. It's perfectly safe to talk in front of her." Um, yep, this is Cheryl,
All right. Hi.
and she has actually the implant, the stuff that some of the others that have been observed on the other very stiff walking types. She seems to have the same type of implants and stuff. But she says hello. She just normally, anything you want. Would you like anything? Um, goes around the room. Vasily, would you like? Can I get you something to drink? We have an excellent selection of vodkas if you're interested.
No.
Very good. Whiskey. Motions over to Sharon. Sharon. Sorry, pronounce it right. Maybe.
I think he had to leave.
Oh, he had to leave. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Irate
Well.
customer.
Ah. Okay. So yes, she offers to him. She's gonna go around to each person, like I said. Mirage, would you like something?
Um, what time is it?
That's an excellent question. You guys, it was
believe it'd be night.
evening. It would be night. It would be pretty late. You guys were at the club it was in the evening when you met at the Hope, and it was after you'd been at the Hope for hours that the
Yeah.
whole excitement started. So it's going to be pretty late at night.
Okay. Cool.
Let me see. It was 7, 8 o'clock or something. It had been at least a few hours. 11. So yeah, it's probably pushing around midnight.
Okay. Yeah. I'll probably say, yeah, I'll have a rum and orange.
Excellent, she says. I'll be right back. Nobody else wants anything? Okay. And she heads off. Um, so, let's see. So he's not here. Vasily, I have no doubt that you could be of use, though. I mean, very much. There is very little chance, I would say. I'm going to provide you, by the way, I do have some information on things like guard rotations and how many people are in the building at a given time and some information. But it's probably not perfectly accurate. There's gonna be a firefight. I have no doubt. You're not gonna be. I mean, come on. You can't just walk into either of the two biggest security firms in the world and just walk into their data center and walk back out without some kind of excitement.
Given enough time, I'm sure I could.
Well, time at this point seems to be a bit of a factor. Um, since they're already ramping up their security. They're increasing their guards and so on because, well, as you know, they've glances back at Stringer's footage and this. It's now a split screen. There's Stringer's footage, which he seems to actually moving away from the action, and then there's another up higher. Just it couldn't be much below the because they're under an overpass, and it's got to be up near the underside of that road that's looking down on the action. So, yeah, I think you could all be very. I mean, it took a lot to make sure that you were all available and here. And
Well, I think it'll probably be more of a break in at night kind of thing than break in plain clothes kind of. If we need to do it quickly.
yes, I was actually hoping that you might be able to go to the Militech facility this evening.
And also, if it is a break in by night, experiences tell that there's usually some difficulties.
Well, I can
I
say,
would be surprised if we didn't encounter. I would be worried if we didn't have to fight our way through some.
well, I can say that there have been, as far as the Militech facility goes, there's been some orders come down that the security should be increased and fortified, and even a cordon around parts of the building and some other things. But I have, at least for the moment, been able to delay some of those orders. Probably not going to be able to stop them, and I don't know for how long. But at this point, um, the building, those inside the Militech headquarters don't actually know that Militech is in the middle of a pitched battle on the streets of Night City. Yet.
Would you be able to provide us with what is word a blueprint?
He will. The images on this giant screen kind of flip around a little bit, and a animated thing comes in of a building, comes in on its side and stands up like that. Has anyone watched Leverage? It's very reminiscent. If you've watched Leverage, it's reminiscent of some of the briefings that have been done in that show, where it's perfect animation, and the building is shown as a outline. And there are some areas, some big areas of the building that are just blank voids. Some areas weren't available in the net, but this is a pretty good representation of the building, and then here's ground level, and you kind of the thing moves up, and there's actually 6 levels underground, and the data centers are down here in this area somewhere. Some things weren't exactly listed very well, so it's difficult to say precisely, but they're down here someplace, and the main security areas offices are over on this side. He points out a couple things like that. So yeah, they're not perfect. Unfortunately, like I said, Militech has not placed all. For some reason, they have not placed all of their exact blueprints and layouts and locations of everything in their building on the net. I can't imagine why they wouldn't do that, but they haven't.
Possibly
He
imagine why
grins.
either.
So yeah, I'll get to this. And if there's any specific equipment that you need, I might be able to arrange for that as well.
On such a short time frame?
What? Well, it just depends on what you're looking for, he says. And he says, would you like to take a walk? I apologize. I neglected to show you around my place here. He stands up and starts to step aside from the immediate sitting area.
Yeah, I'll stand up when
Okay.
he does.
Is anybody not going to go with him? Or is everybody? I'm sorry. Couldn't understand what you said. Oh, gotta love rural internet. I know you're trying to I know you're answering, but I can't. It's just garbled.
Hold on, give me a minute. I'm going to just
Oh, hey, that's better.
I was going to say,
Well,
I can hear him just fine.
So it's not him, it's me.
Mm.
Did you say Art?
Yep. I said I might as well. There's no reason not to.
Very good. Okay. So if everyone, let's see, and of course Kevin's not here at the moment. So assuming you guys all stand up and start to go with him, he's gonna start to show you around a little bit, and I'm gonna go back to Stringer for a minute. Okay. So Mr. Stringer, these guys, there are several guns pointed at you at the moment. except for the one guy that's kind of back and forth on his radio some. And he actually, yeah, okay. Um, he comes back and he seems very puzzled. He says, "Yeah, they do want to see you. They're actually quite glad. Yeah, the colonel is very happy you're here. Actually, oddly."
Excellent.
He says, "Okay, anyway, yeah." Kind of snaps out of it. He was just so shocked that they were willing to talk to somebody. And as he's saying that, the guns start to lower, and a couple of them kind of don't quite bring their hand to their ear, but have that obvious look like they're listening to communication of some sort. And as that happens, they do all go back to a more of a not at rest because there's a lot of firefight going on, but a not directly threatening you stance. He goes, "Right this way, please." And he says to the guy that was originally started talking to you, he says, he kind of points to his ear, and the other guy nods. "Yeah, I got it." And they will escort you to the truck. Toward the back, there is actually, as you come around the back, there is a second one of these trucks that you couldn't see from the angle you're at. And you'll go past the first one, and there's probably 2 or 3 dozen of these soldiers, Militech personnel, milling around right around here, and they're all obviously on very high alert, which for obvious reasons. They take you to the second truck. The back door opens. As the back door opens, it takes like 5 or 6 steps, kind of fold out and come down, and it opens up, and it's a full-on high-tech looking command and control. You know, there's monitors and computers and stuff lining both sides of the truck. There's monitors and all that's on both sides. On one side, there's a narrow, like 12-inch desktop area that lines that side, and there's 3 or 4 people on chairs that are actually mounted to the floor, but they're working along the equipment on that side. The other side seems to be all status information. There's different views of the action. There's a whole section that there's a bunch of body cam footage being displayed and being rotated through. And there's a couple of officers standing in here. One of them is giving orders to someone that's working on the on the computers there. The other one comes right over and greets you. And he says, Lieutenant, he says, Stringer, please come on in. Come in. He says, Lieutenant Colonel Hammond, good to meet you.
Good evening.
He says, well, welcome to our home away from home. He says, please, you're welcome to look around and record as you wish. As soon as are you going to go ahead and get in the truck?
Yeah.
As soon as you get into the truck, your broadcast stops. You lose signal.
But I should still be recording.
You can, yeah, and he's invited you to, and you can record. Nothing is stopping your equipment from working per se, but as soon as you get past the threshold, no signal's getting out that they don't want to get out.
Yeah.
He says, I apologize for the signal blocking. We of course recording and we'll talk about the footage and stuff here in a little bit, but you know there is a battle going on at the moment, so we don't want our positions and capabilities and stuff to be broadcast, of course.
Yep.
He says the colonel here should be with you in just a moment. He will lead you toward the front of the vehicle. There's actually this truck's actually a bit bigger than the first one that you saw, but there's a doorway, a walled small door, narrow door. You walk through that, and then there's actually a small kitchenette on one side. There's a fridge and microwave, all the fun stuff, and then there's some seating area, bench seating area,
Yep.
break room kind of thing, basically.
Any
Just-
tins of alphabetic spaghetti?
Well, there's some cabinets on storage
Yeah,
in
I'm
there,
not
and
gonna
you
go,
can't
I'm
see
not
them.
going to go rummaging through
Okay.
them. I just be home away from home.
Right. No, there's some storage in here that would be there's certain it's going to contain some food, and it's going to probably contain food that doesn't take much, if anything, to prepare, and lasts a long time. He says, "Have a seat, please. Sit down."
If it's something like, yeah.
What's that?
I won't be surprised if it's something like Mountain House, because that will
Oh,
keep
right, the
decades.
dehydrated stuff. He says, yeah, oh yeah, no, there's some that dehydrated, some of that stuff will last. The printed dates are like 25, 30 plus years out, and most of it
Yeah.
you can eat quite a ways after that. Not like MREs that are like
Oh yeah, no. tin
5
foil,
years. Trying to remember, the current MREs are like they're like 2 years, and they're supposed to be inspected, and then they'll go another 3 years, and then they have like a 4 or 5 years extended date if at inspection, and then if they're at 10 years or so, they're probably trash.
Yeah.
Something like that.
When we had wrap packs in cadets, they were always like 4 years out of date.
That's the 4 year. I'm trying to remember. I think it's the 4 to 5 years is when they're supposed to pull them out of rotation, out of service. But theoretically, up to pushing 10 years, they're still usually editable. But I can tell you that I can tell you from experience that around that 10-year mark and over, you've got about a 1 in 2 or 3 that oddly enough are edible, but they're pretty nasty. They're one of those foods that don't start obviously growing things, but as soon as you open it and try to taste it, there's no doubt that it's bad. It's really strange stuff. But anyway, I digress. So yes, he says, Colonel will be in just a moment. Have a seat. We're very much anxious to have an interview, and we were hoping that you'd be willing to get our side of this whole situation out to the public.
Yep,
This
I'll do my
guy
best.
is very. He's probably PR. He's probably a public relations specialist, a person. If he had a role, definitely be a media. Although he's wearing the full military style uniform with the appropriate insignia and such.
Yep.
Just a few seconds later, we're just going to get the colonel introduced here in a moment, and then I'm going to switch back around, keep going back and forth. So just within a couple minutes, you guys are just kind of he doesn't really he continues to talk without really saying anything at all, which is another indication of his specialties. Just a few minutes later, the colonel walks in. This is a stereotypical, if there is such a thing, full bird military colonel. He walks in. He doesn't really look like he's he looks like he's very comfortable. He was extremely comfortable out in that area. He starts to come in, starts to greet you. He doesn't seem to be all that comfortable with this part of the job.
Yeah.
But as he comes in, the Hammond, the lieutenant colonel, will introduce him. This is. Oh man, I lost the name. I'm sorry. 1 second. This is sorry. I completely lost my note. My note file that went away. Anyway, This is Colonel Bronson. He introduces him. Colonel, this is Stringer, and just the guy we were hoping to see, that we were hoping to get this interview with, to get our position out there. He continues to talk, and the Colonel's like, "Yep, I got it. It just, yep." he's like, "Stringer, good to meet you. I'm kind of busy, but I've been it's been requested that I talk to you for a bit, so let's do it." And if we can pause there for a second, we're going to go back around to the other guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So back up in the penthouse, he has shown you guys around. He has shown you a very nice kitchen, and then he goes around another corner and down a bit of a hallway, and he opens a door. This door looks like a regular door, but when he opens it, it becomes clear it's much heavier, much more stout than a normal interior door of an apartment, a condo would be. He opens it, and this whole room is extremely well stocked with firearms. This is a 20 by 20, 20 by 30 foot room with racks. All the walls are covered. Racks and racks of rifles and handguns and grenades and all this, everything. Is there anything in particular you guys or anybody's looking for or would be looking out for?
I was just
Hello?
Keanu Reeves. Lots of guns.
Guns.
It's just
Lots
all I
of
could think
guns.
of when you were
Yes.
just
Yes.
explaining that.
So they don't come spin sliding in. It's not VR. But yes, that's what we've got here. Racks, floor to ceiling. This, by the way, these are 12-foot ceilings in this place, in his penthouse, give or take. And it is floor. The racks are all floor to ceiling, and this room is just full. It's very well organized. It's not like there's stuff just thrown in here or stacked. It's very well organized and set up, but very efficiently set up. He says, Vasily, is there a rifle, a weapon, a handgun that has just been something you've been looking for that you'd like to have but haven't been able to find one of? Hellbringer. Hint, hint, hint. No.
Interesting offer, but I'm assuming there's some sort of catch to this. Like I only get to keep it if I do your job.
Well, yeah, of course. He said, of course. I'd be willing to help supply or provide materials or equipment that you may need to perform the jobs. But no, I'm not going to just give you a gun if you're not going to do the job.
Trying to think of what could come in handy during the job. Give me a moment to think on it.
Oh, absolutely, no problem. You take your time. We'll continue. Oh, Mirage, is there? I've noticed you don't have you have a fairly light weaponry that you normally carry. Was there something that catches your eye? He says you might even come around this side over to this particular rack. There is a. He will walk in. He'll guide you over, assuming you go with him. Around the side, there is a one rack. It's only about 3 feet wide, but it's floor to ceiling, and these are all, I guess, game mechanic speaking, very high fashion weapons. These are weapons that have been modified or designed from the ground up by designers. There's Gucci, there's Armani weapons, there's Tanaka. So perhaps something
Amusingly,
from
when it comes to weaponry that I plan on using on a job where I could very possibly be on candid camera, I tend to go for weapons that don't stick out.
Oh well, of course.
While
I understand.
normally, I'd be all for having some weird designer gun. It's more practical for what we're going to do to have something that just looks very plain.
He says, well,
And if
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, let me think. If you have a double tap Enfield Spitfire, go for that. Something a bit more
Spitfires,
hard
of
hitting.
course. It's one of my favorite. Actually, the Spitfire is one of my favorite weapons. He says one of my favorite handguns. There's a
Great minds think
there's
alike.
he actually and he comes over to to a cabinet. There's actually a station, a weapons, basically a working on guns station spot with a tabletop, all kinds of tools, all kinds of little wrenches, and just all kinds of shit. Of course, nobody's. I don't think we don't have any techs. We don't have any. Does anybody have a weaponsmith over like 5? No. Okay.
Having
Vasily?
a 1.
Vasily, you don't have a high weaponsmith either, do you?
I've got like no tech either.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, there's all kinds of stuff here.
I've got a weaponsmith of 3.
Oh, 3. Okay. So yes, you would recognize this as a very complete gunsmith's workstation, but that nothing too. You're not going to catch anything too special with that skill, with that level. I say that if you want to roll it, if you roll a 10, I can give you more information if you want to. So But you'll open. There's above it. There's a cabinet. 2 cabinet doors. He pulls them open, and as he pulls them open, there is one door that the door on the outside of the door, there are 6 modified Spitfires. And he looks them over, and he says a double tap. And it says, He actually pulls 3 down, sets them on the table, and he says, you should try each of these. Each one has a little bit different grip style, but otherwise each one has the same modifications to it. But try each one in your hand and see which one fits you the best.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, I'll pick each one of them up and just see how they feel.
Okay.
Like, do some mock pistol draws, stuff.
Right. Each one has a slightly different size and shaped grip. He says we're kind of short of time, and my weaponsmith isn't available right now. I don't think, or I get maybe I can get some custom. He says, but you're trying. Each one just feels just a little bit different size grip to it, a little bit different, like right-handed. One of them is set specifically up for left-handed use, completely. The other 2 are completely ambidextrous. But let me see. Oh, there it is. Okay. So yes, he goes through that. He is going to. He says, I'm going to make a call. He says he's going to make a call, and he actually, from the side of the desk, he actually pulls a cable out and plugs back in. And a few seconds later, he comes back. He says, give us just a few minutes here. My weaponsmith is available. He's going to be right. He's going to be over in just a minute. He seems very excited. So these are all heavily modified. If you have a weaponsmith of what'd you say, 1?
Yep.
Okay. So
I also have a decent tech stat though, so I generally do understand. Okay.
If you want to go ahead and roll a weaponsmith, then.
Go on then. Why not? Yeah, 18.
18. Okay. Well, there are some things that are very obvious about it. As you look it over, it has the barrel is not a standard barrel. It's custom made. It looks like the slide action is exceedingly smooth, perfect fit. As it slides back and forth, When you lock it open, there's actually between the frame and the slide, there's actually some small thin pieces of metal that are of a different kind of metal that the slide's actually running on. They're called AccuRails. In real world, they're called AccuRail. It's a gunsmithing customization thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's that. The trigger itself has been polished and shaped to be more comfortable and smoother. The trigger pulls are all so much better, much better. They all have a spot where you can mount scopes, and when you open that door, there on the other door there was actually a whole different kinds of different sizes, different types of scopes and sights and such, red dot laser type sights and scopes. But yeah, you'll pick up on this thing. This is a heavily modified, very nice weapon. All three of these are. And in just a couple of minutes, the gunsmith's going to come in. He says, while you're looking at the guns, Vasily, did you think of something? Is there something I might be able to do for you?
How about this? How about you just give me the biggest rifle you have?
Okay. He says, okay. I can do that. He's kind of thinking for a minute. Okay, we're gonna give just another couple minutes. I'm gonna switch back over to Stringer. But after just a couple of minutes, he's thinking about it. You're still looking at the Spitfires, admiring them, checking them out, doing mock draws, stuff like that. A guy will come in. He is Asian. He's about just barely over 4 foot tall. He comes in. He's wearing these really dirty, not really dirty, but well worn, well used coveralls, jumpsuit. Just because.
God,
Anyway, right?
considering I think Mirage is like 6 foot or so, and Vasily is a mountain. This sub 4 foot or like this 4 foot tall dude.
Yes,
It's literally a dwarf.
Yes, he is freaking tiny compared to everybody else in the room. He's like walking around looking up at you guys, He comes in, he says something in does anyone have any I don't think anybody has any languages besides English straight slang kind of thing. You don't have like Chinese or Japanese or any of those that you would be able to understand. Okay. I don't think Vasily, you don't. I'm pretty sure Kevin doesn't.
Technically, character-wise, you can speak Russian, but I didn't put that in the mechanics.
Okay, no, it's okay. Just Russian. Okay, no problem. So he comes in, he says something in an Asian language to Raish. Raish says something back to him, and he nods and comes over to the table. He's like, kind of move around you guys carefully, because this room doesn't have a hell of a lot of extra space. You guys take up a lot of space, especially Vasily. He starts to approach where you are, and he kind of looks, and he ends up going around the other side of the room and around a couple of racks and coming back. He wasn't even going to try to push past you. Anyway, he goes to his desk, his little workstation, and Mirage, he says, those aren't the right grips. He kind of looks at you, looks you up and down a little bit. He pulls a device, this thing out from one of his little cubbies and stuff of tools, and he says, hold on to this. It's a little stand with kind of like a gun frame and grip and stuff, except the material the grip's made from is kind of big and kind of looks like clay or something. He says, take a grip of this. He said, do you shoot right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, so right-handed. Get a good grip on it. Do you do it?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'm a pretty competent pistol shooter, so it's all muscle memory, basically.
As you do that, he hits another button. A screen comes up, folds out of the desktop, and he hits some buttons on the screen, and all these numbers come. Kind of an outline of this machine, of this stand you're putting your hand on, comes up, and all these numbers start coming up, and the arrows pointing different spots on it. He says, okay, all right, got that. He says, let go and do it again. Do this. We're going to do this 3 or 4 times. And different
Yeah, I
numbers
do
come
that.
up, and numbers string across here. And after you've done that a few times, he says, okay, give me a minute. He hits a few more buttons. And then another cabinet door slides open, and there's a mini auto factory. Basically a 3D printer. But there weren't 3D printers, and they call them auto factories in Cyberpunk. So there's a little mini auto factory, and it starts printing something. Meanwhile, Ray says to Larry, is the weaponsmith. He says, "Vasily here would like our biggest rifle. What would be our biggest rifle?" And I am trying to look here real quick, and kind of thinks about it for a second, and
Oh yes, the 20mm autocannon.
Are you like looking over my shoulder or something? I swear,
No, but
man, I just
that's the,
highlighted something in the book, the PDF. I just highlighted something, and as I was highlighting it, you said it.
No, it just happens to be the weapon that I gave to the NPC in my campaign who had like
Ah.
body type 20.
So he you kind of ruined it, man. No, it's kidding. It's okay. He goes to another rack, and he starts to try to lift something out of this recessed area in the rack. He like reaches in and tries to, and he's like, he goes, Vasily, is it? Would you come here? Just come on over here. And he points inside this part of the recessed part of the rack. And yes, there is a Militech 20L autocannon, 20 millimeter,
Oh yeah.
sitting there, standing up on end. And above it, it's a fairly big, long weapon. But above it, there's 4 magazines for it. These are 100-round magazines. And he says, check it out. See what you think. He says,
I'm going to cooperate.
okay. As you pick it up, he says, and I can trick that out with a clamshell holster and custom grips. And he just starts going on. Does anybody recognize where that? No. Okay, that's okay. Anyway, that was a movie quote, but it's okay. So, as you start to check it out, he starts rattling about some things he could do to it, but this is actually already a slightly modified version of the autocannon. But it's huge. It's for you, even for you, this is a pretty good sized weapon. This would be like a bigger assault rifle for most people.
This handles like a rifle, am I correct?
It more or less, it handles like a rifle. It is big. It is big.
See,
Well, let's
that's my
see.
way of asking if mechanically I'm rolling it with rifle skill or if it's starting to go into heavy weapons now.
No, right. I'm going to say it's right. It's, no, it probably should be heavy weapons. Do you have heavy weapon skill?
I have a 0 in heavy weapons, that's why I asked for the biggest
Okay.
rifle.
I see. I gotcha. Do you have a chip socket?
No,
Okay.
I've not chipped in yet.
Okay, no problem. This one, okay, this is what we're going to do because it's cool. This one has actually, I'm going to roll. Actually, I'm going to roll for it. I'm not going to just. So yes, okay. So this thing, it probably should be considered, yes, it probably should be considered a heavy weapon. But this has been modified. It actually has a different stock and stuff on it. It actually has a foregrip handle on it. It has actually been modified to function and be carried Even has a sling on it and stuff. Very much like a large rifle. So yeah, you can use this modified one. You can use a rifle skill with.
All right.
120 millimeter rounds. I'm trying to think of how big a freaking magazine that would have to be to hold.
It would be a sizable.
That thing has got to be that's not something you just you put in your backpack. That would have to be a big backpack, or even like a medium to large rolling suitcase sized. I would think. Maybe not that big.
It would be so.
For the 100 rounds.
It would be like if you think about a box mag for like a normal LMG, like basically multiply that by about 4.
Okay, so not quite as big as I
be,
was thinking,
I
but it's
imagine
big.
that would be like a magazine.
Okay.
So you could probably have it loaded in the gun, I would imagine, if it's like big, but yeah, carrying multiple of them, you're going to need a bag for those.
Or something. So there's 400 round magazines there right there for it, but there is also 4 25 round magazines, which if you're going to use it as a rifle, you're going to need to use a smaller magazine because it's it's just too big. That's one of the things that's been done. If you use it with a smaller magazine to make it more rifle-ish, and you have a big enough body, you are physically big enough to use it that way. So there you go.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm Brian. I'm so sorry about that. It was a last-minute work meeting, and it went way over what it was supposed to.
Oh,
no worries. You're here now.
No problem.
I'm here now.
You are here now.
I'm just gonna ask, is there anywhere I could test fire this weapon?
The combat zone.
Yeah, there's
Well,
a
give me
few blocks.
minute.
A few blocks from here. There's a spot. He says, and Larry is back at the workstation, and basically the machine in just a few minutes it printed out a whole new grip and lower end, and he's disassembling one of the Spitfires that you were checking out, taking the grip and the sides off and the stuff off the bottom, off the frame, and putting this one on it. And when he gets done and hands it back to you, it is like perfect. What that machine did, it wasn't really clay, but it was very malleable, and it took all kinds of pressure point readings and figured out exactly what shape it needed to be to fit your hand perfectly.
Considering, as I said, I'm a very competent pistol shooter, like my pistol skill's 5 or something. I probably do grip this pistol pretty much exactly the same way every single time, so it is perfect.
You're pretty practiced. Yes.
It's Pistols are the only guns I can shoot, guys. So, yeah, I like that. That a lot.
You wouldn't happen to have gun fu, would you?
Nah, unfortunately.
Let me see. Larry will say we do have he says we do have a range down in one of the sublevels. He says we do have a range. The full normal rounds for that rifle, no, you couldn't fire those inside. But if you want to, I do have some practice rounds, target rounds for it. If you'd like to just to fire it.
I could have an open window. Shouldn't be too hard to find target.
He's like, he kind of shrugs. And Raish is going, I don't care. Sure. Well, not in here. Obviously, there's no windows in this room. This room is completely sealed off. Okay, sure. Well, we'll just a minute. Let me finish getting this back together. So Larry finishes with the double tap Spitfire. If I can, if you guys are ready for it, let me go ahead and give you some specs on the autocannon, on the 20 millimeter, and then I'll flip back over and give you the specs on the double tap. Okay.
I know the specs on that
The
autocannon well, but yes, please do.
okay, this autocannon, this one's a modified. Are you ready there to take these notes?
Yeah, let me quickly do this.
Okay, let me know when you're ready there. And Brian, it'll be a minute or two. I'll see if I can bring you in here in just a minute somehow.
Take your time. I mean, I'm so sorry about that, but real life has to come first in this case. It was
Okay.
an
Yep.
issue.
What's the name
I
of this thing?
understand. I ended up quite late getting in myself because I had support calls I had to handle before. Right, they came in like minutes before. But this is a Militech. The original. It's heavily modified, but the original is a Militech 20L Lima autocannon.
Okay.
The original is considered a heavy weapon. We're going to call this one a rifle, though, and I'll give you some other. It's got some other modifications.
Unless I
to
fire
it.
it with the big mags.
What's what?
Unless I fire it with the big mags, in which case it's a.
Yeah, if you
missile.
use the full 100-round mag, and then I think we need to call it. I think that's where we'll draw the line. We'll say if you use the full 100-round mag with it, then we'll call it a heavy weapon.
It's a convertible.
Convertible. But it has, again, this one from stock. It has the whole stock from a stock weapon. The stock on the weapon has been modified so that you can handle it and use it more like a rifle. It has actually a vertical foregrip attached to it, so that to help you handle it more like a rifle. This is a 20 millimeter rounds. It's an 8x10 damage weapon.
That's a lot of damage.
Yes, it is.
Now that's a lot of damage.
Yes, this one is smart chipped. It actually has smart plates built into the grip, and it has cable ports on it, both. So you can.
TV version.
That's right. So you can jack into it, or you can use the smart plate technology, where as you grip it, if you had the plates on your hands, as you grip it, you connect to it.
I don't have any of that.
You don't
so
have
the
any of
Play-Doh
that.
gun at
Okay.
me.
Okay. So it doesn't do any of those things for you, but it has those things. This one in this configuration. It does have a scope on it. It is a +2. The factory was a +0. This is a +2. It is, again, the factory magazines are 100, but these also made some 25-round magazines to make it more manageable. It is selectable. The original is a 10-round rate of fire. This one is selectable. You can do 1 round, you can do 3-round burst, or you can do the full 10 rounds. It is a very reliable weapon, and its range is 500 meters.
Range is 500 meters.
500 meters.
Okay.
Okay. The infield Spitfire double tap. There. This is a +4 now. Still jacket concealable. This one is actually electrothermal enhanced. It is a 5x6 +1 weapon. Now the only drawback to that is it is cased ammo now, meaning electrothermal.
Okay.
But it does more damage and it's more accurate. He does have some of the standard 12-round mags. He also has some 25-round mags for it. He will offer you up to 5 of each.
Cool.
This one's actually selectable between the standard double tap and full auto.
What's the rate of fire?
Well, double tap. It's a 2 rounds, but this is 2 rounds on 1 trigger pull.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
selectable between just shooting it once and...
Right. One trigger pull 2 rounds. One trigger pull the whole magazine.
Oh, the whole magazine.
Full auto, the whole magazine. It will do the 25 round mag in 1 round.
Okay.
Now, when you do the full, it's a very reliable weapon. But the other note, though, if you do the full auto 25 rounds, you have to, whenever you do that, you have to make an additional roll for reliability. 1, 2, or 3, it has damage that's going to require a weaponsmith.
Okay.
Okay, because it's just that's a lot for a handgun to handle.
Yeah,
It's
especially
a
when
lot,
it's firing
and it
big
and is
bullets.
yeah. So there you go.
Cool.
Okay, there's your stuff at a regular 50-meter range. Regular stuff there. Okay.
Cool.
And
I
there's your
was
your
going
weapons.
to ask.
Yes.
I was
Now
going to ask him if he's got any either dual purpose or 12mm anti-personnel that would be set up for with electrothermal.
ETE, I think, can only come in DP or AP.
The regular electrothermo is AP, and
Oh, is it? Cool.
yeah,
Then
it is AP. Not dual purpose, but it
I
is AP.
okay. Then I ask that question, but instead I just say 12mm anti-personnel.
They're Larry and Race they kind of look at each other and like, racist. We need to continue the tour. Real quick, that we're going to go to the next room. I'm going to mention what it is, and I need to go back to Stringer for a bit. So, you guys got your rifle and your weapon.
Cool.
Of course, Kevin, I guess. Yeah, Kevin's not here. Okay. You go to the next room. The next room is laid out very similar to the one you were just in, except it's all munitions. Grenades, and boxes and boxes and boxes of different kinds of ammunition, claymore type devices, door breaching sets, all kinds of stuff. And as you guys start to check this room out, back to Stringer in your interview.
Yep.
And okay, so you are in the truck in this little lounge seating area thing. The lieutenant colonel is here, and he is, every time there's an opening, he will start talking, and the colonel is starting to get annoyed at that. But he's a talker, he's a PR guy. It doesn't take long to figure out his rank is probably just purely, he was assigned a rank so that he had enough rank to move or go where he needed to go and stuff. He didn't like start out as a private and move up through the ranks. He just, was assigned it.
Yeah. Like doctors automatically becoming captains.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. But so you've been talking for just a little bit. The colonel is very much wanting to get back to the other room, but so he is very what's the word? Not controlled. Oh shit, that's okay. I'm not thinking of the way I was going to describe it. He is a very good military officer in his demeanor, in the way he speaks, and all of that. At the same time, he's a little frustrated that he has to give an interview and wants to get back to what his real job is. This isn't the colonel that is in charge of a base somewhere and is more of a politician administrator. This is he's actually a combat type. So yeah, you want to do it. Do you have specific questions or ways that you want to make sure the conversation goes?
Well, I want to start with my initial comment, which is that this all start. Some of your men were going about doing their peacekeeping duties when they were attacked by a squad of Arasaka goons. Can you confirm this?
He kind of pauses for a moment and thinks, considers, and the the lieutenant colonel, the what's his name, Hammond. Hammond is going like perks up, and it seems he's like he wears his emotions. You know, it's obvious he's very excited about that idea, and nods to the colonel, and the colonel's like, "Yes, that's exactly the way it happened. We were attacked. We were on a normal patrol in the area that we are contracted to patrol. We were not going outside our designated patrol zones when we were attacked by a group from Arasaka. They came out of nowhere and started shooting at us." He's not an actor, by the way, in case you didn't get that.
Yeah.
You know. So of course we had to defend ourselves, and since it's our contract to defend the area, and Hammond just jumps all over what he was saying. Yes, so we've got the contract. You're familiar with our contract. I'll make sure and provide the PR packet to you on the contract, on the agreements with the city. And he just starts going on like that. And Colonel Bronson says, "Look, Hammond, go in the other room." But but this is what I'm here for, to help you with this and make sure the interview goes. Hammond, get your ass in the other room. I'm tired of this shit. And he finally gets up and, grumbling, goes back into the other room. Okay. The colonel takes a kind of a deep breath. So.
I'll then say that, according to my sources, the main culprits behind all of this was Robert group, decidedly underhanded contract negotiations with Militech, and with Robert Roberts being severely lacking in their disclosure.
He says, "Well, I'm not really involved in the policy and contract negotiations and that kind of thing. That's just really beyond my job. But somebody runs in from the other room, a technician type, right, with a headset and gear on and stuff, runs in and whispers something in his ear, and he says something back to them, and he runs back out there. He says, this is just kind of a ridiculous battle, but it's something we have to fight. We have to defend ourselves. We have to complete our contract, defend the city streets, the Charter Hill South area." And as he's saying that, he's got this an actual pen and paper type notebook. He pulls out and he goes, "It is Militech's purpose and a contractually agreed right and necessity for us to defend and take control." No. Can you cut that part out, he says. I'm going to start over. And he goes back into it. Basically, he's got written down a paragraph that, is obviously not written by him, talking about how it's, Militech's duty to protect the people of Charter Hill South and that kind of stuff. And he gets done with it and he puts the notebook away. So yeah, we were patrolling. We started getting shot at. And turns out there were two gangs over here. And they were getting into it with each other. And Arasaka was over here. And so, yeah, now there's a battle going on between all of us. I think the gangs might be most. According to our intel, the gangs are almost out of it. And another guy comes running in from the other room. He says, he kind of whispers something, but doesn't whisper it very well. He says, "The drone. We lost another one of the drones." Okay, Colonel says, "Do we have another one with us?" He says, "No, we've requested." He says, "We requested two more from headquarters, but we're not getting any response from headquarters. No, for some reason." So, okay, all right, just I'll be back as soon as I can. The guy leaves again. The Colonel looks at you. He says, "Okay, where were we?"
You were saying the gangs were pretty much out of it.
Oh yes. So the gang activity, the gang issue, I believe, is as far as we can tell, mostly or completely subdued. However, the Arasaka personnel seem to be adamant in their position and not returning to the zone that they're supposed to be handling. And as it is our contract and duty to duty. He looks back at his notebook. Yeah, duty. It is our contracted duty to defend everything in the side of the road. We're doing what we have to do to protect the streets and the people.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Excellent.
So,
Well,
do you have any other?
That's enough information for my viewers. Too much details and they get lost. But I'll just give you one tip here, and that's that Robert Roberts have been using a group of Chinese triad assassins to do some of their dirty work. They may still use them again, and at first glance or in the heat of a firefight, Japanese and not Japanese Arasaka person. So this is something for your lads to watch out for.
Do you know particular individuals or just gangsters in general?
They're Hong Kong triads. I caught some of the film. I can send the information over to you after I get home, obviously.
He kind of gives you just a moment, hand sign. He kind of pounds on the wall behind him, which is the wall back to the rest of the unit, and somebody comes in. He says, "Get me the pad with the intel from earlier, the unknown combatants." He says, "Okay." Guy goes out, comes back a minute later. He's got a tablet thing, and he flips through some still images, and he shows you. Are these the people you're talking about?
I shall give the
and
pad a look.
You give it a look. Okay. There are there's several different shots, and he scrolls through them, and you go through them and stuff. They're not the best images, but you recognize there are three very well dressed Asian individuals that actually look like the same people that were in that club way back, and way back, the three triads that were really well dressed in suits. And there's one clip of video of them each facing a different direction and shooting. Even the colonel will tell you that the gangs were over here, Arasaka's over here, and we're over on this end. We caught some video of them and a bunch of stills here for just a minute or two, And we assumed they were part of. We kind of assumed they were part of the gangs, but they really didn't. The one gang that's over on this side, but they really are more well dressed. So we weren't sure who they were, but they headed in the direction of the one gang over here. So that's what we thought they were part of that group. Interesting, he says. Very interesting.
Which gang is it over there? The Mongols, or
No.
they're on the
Sorry, I didn't have that.
the west side.
Give me a moment.
Western Stars are about south of where.
Where is it? Sorry, guys. One moment. Actually, there was a group of voodoo boys is the general direction they headed. We weren't able to confirm if they actually met up with them or not. But there were voodoo boys over on this end. And Valentinos was the other group that were over here. The Valentinos got cleared out didn't take too long, and we haven't been able to get over there to guarantee it, but they either were eliminated or retreated. The Voodoo Boys, they put up a bit more of a fight. He says.
Well, those three are definitely people. That definitely looks like Roberts are trying to stir up the gangs, and
interesting, he says.
The receiving end of that makes a mental note of the fact that I have to stir up the gangs later tonight.
That's interesting information. I appreciate you passing on that intel. I'll have to put that down to pass that up or make sure that's in the reports. But anyway, so if you do you have anything else at the moment, or I kind of need to get back to my post here?
No, that's that pretty much. I will be getting some more.
I'm sorry, Breck. I didn't understand what you said.
Yeah, that's enough for my view.
Okay.
From that side, but too much. Unfortunate, but that's the way life is.
I think I understand what basically what you were saying. It was breaking up a fair bit on my side.
Yeah.
But once you're done, he will offer to shake your hand, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll shake his hand.
Guide you back out. Okay. And he says as you guys are heading out now, he says there's nothing in this room that's really classified. We made sure and blank or change the screens as necessary before you came in. So, we ask you to not give away our position or anything until this particular fight's over. But otherwise, I've been instructed to let you know you can use what you want.
Thank you for that.
And he'll lead you to the door. He'll shake your hand again and let you out. When you get outside, I'm going to get back over to the other guys here in a second. But when you get back outside, the LT is standing. Lieutenant Colonel is outside, smoking. Very when you came in, all of the guard type, they were more MPs. MPs might be the better description of the guys that were around.
I have to step away for a minute. My wife.
Okay. Oh, no problem. I got to get Brian in too yet. Okay, so they're all on guard. They're paying attention. They're looking around them. they've got their positions, all that stuff. He is just kind of standing out there, leaning against the truck, like he was at a freaking, fair or swap meet or something. He's just standing there smoking, couldn't be bothered to, actually take cover or pay attention to what's going on around him.
Yep.
But as you come out, he will catch you and he'll start doing his thing, talking to you again. Great. How'd the interview go? Did you get everything you need? Is there any questions I can answer for you? Oh, that packet. Yes, he says. He pulls a chip out of a coat pocket. He says, "Here's the whole PR packet on the contract with the city. What we've been doing down here, the good work. There's some testimonials in there from the public. Did you know we saved a baby? We saved a baby. There was a baby being by a parent. There was a gang attack, and we just barely, our med techs barely revived him. It's amazing. In fact, we've adopted him. He's going into our training program. He's just gonna go on, as long as you'll let him."
Does the gunfire seem to be dying down, or is it still going strong?
It seems to be a bit more intermittent, and let's see how to say it. More intermittent. Before there was a lot more fire from different, seemed to be coming from different positions. Now it seems to be down to just maybe 2. And before it wasn't hard to pick out all different kinds of weapons being fired. Now it seems to be just 2 or 3 different kinds that are being. You'll hear, the sound of the fire of the rounds going off is very similar. All the rounds coming off from this side are very similar. All the rounds coming off from over on this side seem to be very similar to each other.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to head into the nearest building. Is it? Oh, I haven't got the map up, so I don't know if
I'll flip it here.
if I'm near a
Let's see.
building or if what I'm
Right.
next to is one of the bulldozed areas. I think it might be
Okay, so that's good enough for now.
Yeah.
Sorry?
There's a suit. If I'm just pinging a
Okay.
map, if we're here,
Oh.
there's a suitable building.
Yes, and this building has taken a fair bit of damage, but it doesn't look like it's falling down or anything like that. The exterior has just taken a significant amount of damage.
Yep. I'm gonna and film from the windows, so that way if I have to move position, I will be moving position behind a brick wall.
Okay. Well, this
Once
part of the.
bit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Pardon me.
Once bit.
Yes. As you start to come up on the area, so this was the intersection with all the action. So they were back over almost, not quite around the corner, but over this direction here. Almost out from under the stuff. Actually, no, excuse me. They were on this side. Pardon me, Militech. Militech was on this side. Just this side of the highway, almost not quite around the corner. This is a large building, office building type, probably 10, 12 stories. This is some shops around here, around the front. This is a smaller 3 or 4 story building here. Some shops around the front, and the upper 2 floors are residential. But yes, you can get access to the building. You can get up to the roof if you want, that kind of stuff. And it's not so tall that you couldn't then see down into the road.
Yep, if I can find somewhere that gives me a good view and cover.
Okay. Yep, you can get in. There is a fire stairwell. There is actually, as you come in, there's actually a Militech, one of these soldiers, MPs. There's one standing right near the door. They'll let you pass. There's one at each floor. There's a stairwell just inside the door on this end. There's one at each floor as you go up. There are multiple snipers. There's like at least 3 or 4 snipers, Militech personnel up here. And there's a group trying to set up a heavy weapon of some sort, heavy machine gun type weapon, right at the corner.
Ooh.
They're having some problems though, in that they're trying to keep cover and not get shot at while they're setting this up close enough to the corner that it can have an effect on the road. So you're setting that up. You're going to take a position up there.
Yeah.
Back around to the. I'm sorry. If you're good, I'm going to go back around to the condo.
Yep, I'm fine.
Okay. And oh, Ryan, are you back yet, or are you still tied up? Okay, he's not back yet. That's okay. Okay. Actually, at this point, I've got 20 to 30 minutes, and I'm probably gonna have to call it for today. So, but we'll see how it goes. Brian, if you can hear, if you're listening, I may end up waiting till next round. May have to wait till next time to bring you in. I apologize for that, but we'll see when you get back. So yes, so they bring you to the next room. All kind of munitions, ammunition, etc. You can relatively easily, they're all sorted by caliber and by type of ammo and stuff. It's like all the 12 millimeters together. Within all the 12 millimeter is all the electrothermo and all the AP, all the dual purpose, all the incendiary is all everything sorted together, so it's not hard to find the ammo you're looking for. Just make sure, again, on the there were 4 of the 25 and 4 of the 100 round mags on the autocannon. There were 5 each of the 12 round and the 25 rounds for the fire. Just make sure you guys are taking notes on all that, of what you're taking.
So there was 4 of the 25 round mags.
Yes, 4 of the 25 round mags. There were 4 of the 100 round mags. None of them where the magazines are. None of it was loaded. The Spitfire, there was no munition, ammunition in the room where the guns were.
So I don't actually have any ammo for it yet.
Not yet, but that's in this room.
Okay.
Okay. So he'll say, yep, the 12 millimeters over that way, the 20 millimeter for the autocannon. He goes over here. There's actually a separate cabinet that he opens up, and the bigger rounds, mortar. There's actually 2 on the bottom, sitting on the bottom of this cabinet. There's 2 old style mortar setups. The just basically a tube on a stand kind of things are set up down there. Here, and he starts pulling out. There are the bigger ammo cans. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the bigger ammo cans. They've got to be 18 inches or something like that long, 18 or 20 or 22 inches long by like 6 or 8, 10 inches wide. He starts pulling those out of the cabinet of the 20 millimeter. And he just, whatever you need, they're going to have enough ammo to fill up your magazines.
I'm back now.
Okay. I apologize. I was saying I'm getting short of time. I hate to say it, but I may get you introduced. We may have to wait to really bring you in until next time.
It's no problem. So
sorry about that. Well, and like I said, we were late starting, and I had some delays and stuff. So, yeah, I apologize. But okay. Oops. Just a moment. Sorry guys, it'll take me just a moment to bring stuff back up. Apparently, I accidentally triggered. Where's that? Dang it. Yep, I'm sorry, just a moment. I hit something on my computer. Okay. I just learned this a few days ago, and I just did it again by accident. Apparently, Windows 10 has a a motion thing. If you pick up a window and shake it back and forth, it minimizes everything. And I didn't know about that until just recently. And I just accidentally did it again. So I lost all my windows. So anyway. So yes, so there's enough ammo here to fill up all your magazines. Larry will help with the 12 millimeter. Vasily, you are probably the one that will have to load the 20 millimeter because their magazines are bigger rounds, heavier springs and all that stuff. Trying to get them loaded, get everything loaded. And actually, you don't have the heavy weapon skill. I was going to say this kind of a weapon. Those magazines would normally come pre-done, preloaded, but these don't. And you don't have the heavy weapon skill, so you don't know that anyway. You don't know any better. Yeah, so you're getting the electrothermal for the 12. For the 20 millimeter, they have regular. Let me see. What was I going to say about that? The 8x10. Are those Impulse? Do you know what kind of rounds those are? If those are just
Cased. 20
are they
millimeter.
cased? Are they?
Yeah,
Yeah, anything that big is cased.
Yeah, it's got to be cased. Okay, but they actually have 10 rounds of incendiary 20 millimeter rounds for that weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 10 rounds of a tracer type round, if you're interested.
A tracer type round.
Yes, it does not have it doesn't have the same. It doesn't do any related damage of our standard round, but if depending on the situation, if you're trying to do suppressive fire, for example, or if you're having trouble seeing your target, like you're trying to shoot fire at night or something, you might want to do every so many rounds of tracer rounds so you can help see where you're targeting, see where your rounds are hitting.
What's the exact effect of a
It's
tracer
also
round mechanically?
Mechanically, it's going to be incendiary, similar to an incendiary. It's not going to do nearly as much actual damage where it lands, but it visually lets you see where your rounds are going. So if you're shooting in the dark, you're shooting in an environment that you wouldn't normally be able to see what you're shooting at. It lights up the whole path. That's the way I'm playing it anyway. These are all custom rounds anyway, so that's the way I'm doing it. You know. Yeah, so that's what you got there. So just make sure you take good notes on whatever you're taking on that stuff. So I take it then, since everybody is arming up, that you guys are in. You're going to take the jobs.
Oh, I am. Yeah, I've been in since the start.
Silly?
Well, I know it's not exactly a dedicated stealth mission, so.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't think well, I'm no solo, but it seems like that isn't the right kind of weapon to take if it was purely stealth.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm taking it.
Excellent.
I'm
Excellent. Okay.
going to be waiting in the car outside, just leaning out the window.
That's a big
Now, is there
freaking
any
gun. That's funny.
explosive rounds?
Explosive rounds, so just like HE type rounds. What you're talking about? High explosive.
Essentially, yeah.
Let's see. I'll give them 50-50. High, they've got it. They do not have any high explosive rounds for it.
Aww.
There is actually an empty area as he was getting all this
So I'll
stuff out
just
of this
take.
big cabinet. There's a whole section that's sectioned off and has another door. Inside the cabinet it is also doored off, or walled off, and it's marked with the plaque of the explosive warning. Like everything in here isn't freaking explosive, but he opens it and they're out. They don't have any.
Sold out.
Sold out. Sorry.
Yeah, people were panic buying, so
That's right.
You gotta protect the toilet paper.
That's right. Got to protect you got to protect the toilet paper.
how much are they okay with me taking?
How much do they? I'm sorry. How much do they care if you take? Is that what you said?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. I apologize. I missed. It broke up or something. They will basically the two guns, so one each, the rifle now and the Spitfire. They're basically all the magazines. If you wanted to take all those magazines and load them all up, they will do that.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So 10 magazines for the Spitfire and 8 magazines if you take the 100-round ones for the
And what's the variety here for 20mm?
the regular the 10 they've got a limited. I'm gonna double check here. I'm gonna roll it because I'd rather roll stuff. Okay, yeah, they've got one smaller box or whatever of 10 rounds of the tracers. They have 10 purely incendiary rounds. They basically are 2-start fires. It's kind of like shooting a big flare. Well, flares are pretty big, but it's it's kind of like shooting a flare 500 meters and starting a fire. You might no. How could I describe that if you're not familiar?
They're
If you
magnesium rounds.
Yes. So if you had a water balloon, but fill it with gasoline that ignited when it broke, and you could fire accurately for whatever the range was on that thing.
I get the idea.
Yeah, that's what you got.
Okay. And they have 10 of each of these rounds.
Of those two, and then the rest are the standard rounds for the weapon. But yeah, Brian, like you're saying, they're magnesium filled, which I mentioned that because those incendiary rounds will continue to burn underwater. They generate their own oxygen as they burn.
Oh, it's like napalm, delightful.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get a calculator here.
Okay, so you're getting that stuff together. You're collecting up. You're loading up weapons and stuff. Is there any other type of equipment? I'm fairly well stocked with some things that you feel you'll need for this particular job. Oh, I'm sorry, facility, the window. Yes, over here. He points down the hall. If you guys are ready to go down there, he'll take you all the way down the hall to the end of the building. Of course, you guys are in this building.
They had armor piercing, didn't they?
For the 20mm, they're just the regular. Oh, let me pull it up here again. It's whatever the standard round is for that. I don't think they're AP.
No, they're just 20mm.
Yeah, no, they're not AP. But they are 8x10.
Okay. I've loaded one mag in a sequence that goes standard to tracer and incendiary.
Okay.
Sounds like a good sequence to me.
That sounds good to me. That's why I like taking the Hurricane automatic shotgun and loading it up like they do in every 4th round incendiary round or something like that. That's always fun.
I want to go hit them, make sure I'm on target, and burn.
There's a balcony on this side of the building. There's actually a balcony here. What was the range? What did I say the range is on that?
500 meters.
100 meters, 1,500 feet. So there's a balcony on this side of the building that looks down that when you're out on the balcony, you actually can see down this road. And this is where of course it's dark out, so you can't see very well unless you have low light. Even at that, the range is kind of extreme. But the major part of the fighting is right down here at the end of this block. You would have difficulty, well, okay, just because it's fun. Do you have low light?
There was a scope on this.
I did say there was. Yes, you do not have low light. The scope does.
10 out of 10. I like it.
The scope has low light and IE built into it, and AD, and it has all built into it. How long? I'm trying to remember.
Does it shoot around corners?
No, it doesn't shoot around corners. It doesn't have the whole, tilt thing. It doesn't have a remote camera.
It makes the corner wish it was never born.
Now it will
Yeah,
shoot through corners. Yes, it could, depending on the corner. It may very well shoot through a corner.
So I just want to spot someone I don't like.
So there, yes, you are probably within range to hit a target down in this intersection. So, and if
I'm gonna try and find a target.
You're gonna try and find a target. Okay. So awareness notice first. And I'll give you, since you're using it this way, just a reminder or mention of a couple of things. If you take aim, and you can get an additional +1 to hit for each round that you spend the entire round just aiming at the same target. Up to +3. Okay, so yes, 19. Okay, so not enough to see one thing that I was going to mention if you did, but anyway. So over
Was
in
I going to
this,
spot Stringer reporting?
Stringer is back. He's on the roof of this building. He's not really in your line of sight right at the moment. Darn it. Well, unless you wanted to go up to the roof. If you went up to the roof, you might be able to see him. Okay, so Arasaka is a position. You can see this now through your scope. You rolled high. They're taking up a position in here, and they've got some just miscellaneous vehicles have been either blown up or turned over or whatever, and are barricading this end of the road. That's Militech. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Militech is on this side. It's a little bit harder to see. Arasaka guys are down in this end and into the park, along the edge of the park here. Some of them are even you can see them peeking out from behind the structure here. But basically Arasaka is controlling the north side. Militech is controlling the south side. And every now and then, one side or the other, one or two or three will break cover and either fire or try to cross the road and get shot down. There are quite a few bodies all over in here. Lots of wreckage.
I'm gonna aim for hopefully one of the Arasaka guns. I'm gonna aim for one where it wouldn't be too suspicious for him to get hit at the moment. Like he's being a bit too
right
risk taking, just so it doesn't cast suspicion on some random balcony at Tokatomi.
So you're not going to shoot one of the Militech people in the back, drawing attention that you're shooting from down the block.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot one on the far side so that okay, I got you. Okay, so considering everything that's going on in between, 1, 2, so you're going to have a -3, and you can pretty much there's multiple people over here you can shoot. You can aim at with a -3, or try to take a shot at.
Okay. I'm gonna take aim for 2, right? Just
2 rounds.
Make sure I'm online.
So you'll be firing in the third round. You'll have a +2 from that.
Then plus the scope.
Plus the weapon. What did I say the weapon was? +2.
+2 scope.
And well, the weapon is a +2. This scope is a +1. So +3 with both if you're using the scope.
So
you can actually use
5 overall.
The way this weapon is set up and designed, you can use it without a scope on it.
I'm going to use a scope. It's long range we're talking about here.
Yeah. You're using one in this case. So +2 for the scope, +1 for the... Excuse me. +2 for the weapon, +1 for the scope is 3, and -3 for the range for the difficulty C conditions. So that gives you 0.
And then +2 for the take aim.
And +2 for the take aim. Yes, sir.
I want to aim for the leg. Just to complicate
Okay,
things
that's
even
another
further.
that's another -3. So you got a
That's
-1 net now.
-1. Okay.
Yeah, so your net is a -1. Yeah, yeah.
Make this roll. Although the rifle roll I rolled, but whatever. Same thing. I should have rolled the weapon.
You should have. You got it. If you got it typed in, you should have rolled the weapon. But that's okay.
I've got it all typed up.
19. So these guys. Let me think. 8. Just doing some quick math in my head.
I may roll the damage.
Go. Yeah. If you want to go ahead and roll damage, we're gonna see. We know where you hit. Hey.
Rest in pepperoni.
As long as they don't roll a 10. I think there's. Oh. Okay. So the guy that you're aiming at, you can see it in your scope. It was right between his legs. He's like taking just as you fired, he took another step, and instead of it hitting the leg you were shooting at, he takes a step, so the round goes right between his legs. But okay, it goes. However, there is another guy standing behind him. It's what, 42 damage? Yeah, 42 damage. So there is another guy behind him, and let me see the angle you're shooting at. It's going to be a leg shot. It takes off the leg of somebody that's the next guy that's behind him. It continues. So the guy you're aiming at, it goes between his legs. There's another guy walking or ducking, trying to run for cover right behind him. His leg just disappears. Okay, it goes on from there. There's another guy. As these guys are getting out of the way, there's a third person that's trying to take position with a sniper rifle. See, as you miss the first guy, you kind of move your scope and you kind of look down the road a little bit further. There's another guy trying to take up a sandbag position with a sniper rifle down there. It goes through the sandbags, through that guy, and then explodes on the ground behind him. Explodes. Actually hits the ground. A little bit further on, there's a whole big dust cloud comes up. You can't necessarily hear the explosion with everything else going on immediately. But that's what you see. The guy you're aiming at between his legs takes off the leg of another guy, through some sandbags, through a guy who was setting up to be a sniper, and then actually cloud of dust and debris and stuff from beyond him.
And all of Tokyo Square just hears me going,
That's 42 freaking damage. I mean, jeez. If you weren't
a
shooting it,
designed to be used on vehicles.
Right. Well, if you were
become death, the destroyer of
that's it. I mean, it's one of those rounds that if you weren't shooting from such a high vantage point, it probably would have continued on further than that. It started to drop off at some point. But yeah, you took one guy's leg off. You took the other guy. He's gone. And there is a scattering. If you're still watching through the scope, there is a scattering. People ducking for cover. And the one dude with the leg gets dragged off. And yeah, that's what happens.
I like this gun. It is good gun.
Raish, after you get done firing, if you then, don't stay in the firing stance, move your head away from the scope like you're not going to take another shot right away. Raish will come up behind you and kind of pat you in the back. Says, "So you like it?"
Indeed.
I'm glad I could help. I'm glad to have you aboard. Terrific. Excellent. Where are we on time? Yeah, we just got another couple minutes and we have to call it for today. I'm sorry, Brian. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to wait till next time, but we'll We'll start out with you next time.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem.
So
I'm highly entertained by the 20mm rifle.
Yep, I love it. I like it. I like doing stuff like that. Now I will say, Vasily, when you fired this thing, there was a shitload of recoil.
I'd assume as much.
Yes, like as far as trying to use it, like you have a decent rifle skill. You're familiar with sniper rifles and assault rifles and such.
Decent.
Okay.
My rifle skill is 8.
Is 8? Oh, I didn't realize it was 8. It was higher than I thought it was. So you have a damn good rifle skill. So what you're used to, even a higher powered sniper rifle or something, you could almost next round you would normally feel confident that the following combat round you could pull the trigger and fire accurately again. Okay. Trying to fire this weapon this way, trying to use this thing as a sniper rifle like this, you probably recover. You probably would not be able to fire another long range.
I think the audio
So-
just died.
Oh, am I
Oh,
back?
there you go.
Okay,
Yeah, you're back.
sorry.
Back now.
So I don't know how much you caught, but I'm gonna just to summarize the game mechanics. If you're going to try to use it like you did here, kind of using it more like a sniper rifle, you're going to have to take a round between shots to recover from the recoil.
Yeah, realign my sights
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. If you're using it more like maybe not literally for suppressive fire, but you're using it more like a SAW, squad assault type, not down on it with the big scope and all that. If you're just trying to cover an area or a relatively close shot, then you don't have that issue.
What if I aim at
just
the ground
depends on how
and
you're
put
trying
it
to fire
full auto? Can I fly with it if I aim it at the ground and just full auto it?
Well, how about you just give it a shot, give it a try in game sometime. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, should be a fun time.
Yeah, fire an 8x10 weapon at your feet. See what happens. Yeah, you should do that.
God.
Great way to get cybernetic legs.
Well, it'd be a way to if you survived. Okay, so that's that. So yes, for everybody else, by the way, for the others that were at the condo when this round went off, it was freaking loud. By the way, everybody's used to gunfire, everybody's used to stuff, rifles and shotguns and other stuff going off in the street. It happens. It's a very common occurrence in the area. But this thing was much louder than the normal weapon. So that's what's happening at the condo. Of course, you'll be able to make up that round. When we're done here, you will have full magazines again. That's that stuff. Back around to Stringer. Stringer, you're on top of that building.
Yep.
As you're getting set up and you're looking to figure out what position you can be in, and we'll let you get your side, but the first position you start to take up, the spotter for the sniper that's not too far from your position asks you to not set up there, to move to if you move down a little bit further, you'd be in their line of sight.
Yep.
So there's that. As you're getting moved around, you're trying to get set up. The guys that are I mentioned they're trying to set up some kind of a large machine gun type weapon there on the corner. There is, yes, there is a small explosion. Recently, there had been earlier in the fight. There were a lot of explosions and other stuff, but recently it's all been just a relatively small arms fire between Arasaka and Militech, basically across the road. Rifles, some handguns, that kind of stuff. There hasn't really the bigger stuff hasn't been happening, but there is an explosion back over here somewhere, and a big cloud of dust and dirt and debris comes up from the ground back there. The guys that are setting up this weapon, they kind of stop and they start looking around and they look over at this rooftop, and there's there's another Militech squad over here, and a couple more snipers over here. They all start looking at each other, and they all there's two on this roof that are doing this. Two spotters from this roof. One of the guys that was setting up the machine gun, and two spotters from this roof. They all start looking back at each other and start looking around, and they pull their sleeve back, and they're looking at something, hitting something on their arms. And they're looking at each other, and they're each one's kind of pointing slightly different. And after a little bit of discussion, or so to speak, hand signals, one spotter from this side and the one guy running the machine gun are both pointing, and there's discussion on your rooftop. Stringer, it came from down the road somewhere. It came from back down here someplace.
Yep.
What's it called? Lockdown. That's it, lockdown. Their spotters all have lockdown and are all tied together. So there's that. Stringer, you're gonna set up for video, and I just got a minute or two here, so we'll have to end it. But you're gonna are you setting up to do more filming, or do you have something else you want to do on the roof?
More filming.
There's more filming. Okay, so you set up there. So we're gonna need, and we can do more on this for next time, but we're going to need for next time, if you'll remember, if you want to do it now, remember the number for next time, or if you just want to roll it next week, you're going to need a photo and film for the interview with the colonel, and then a photo and film for up here on the roof. Okay? And you're doing that. That's what's happening there. You guys back at the condo, we described what happened. Yeah, I think that's a place where we're going to stop.
As a skill.
Use interview with the colonel then. Sorry about that. Yes, absolutely use interview.
I had a couple of extra items that I wanted to get.
Oh, okay. What else are you looking?
Not guns.
That's the point. I want armor.
Armor. Well, in case you didn't guess already, yes, there is another room yet again that has some vests, and these are not high fashion. These are very functional. They are by body type. Some vests, some big heavy flak jackets. These are things you wouldn't want to wear just normally walking around, but they're heavier armored. Some other stuff. What in particular are you guys looking for?
I was wondering if he had some of the Uniware stuff. The Uniware stuff is it's from one of the Chromebooks. It's basically like it's basically sort of like corporate security sort of looking stuff. So it's semi-smart. It's not high fashion or anything. Like it's not an expensive brand.
Right, but something they could wear at a corporate office and not be totally out of place.
Generic. It's the generic. If you're corporate security and don't want to look weird.
He actually, I'm going to roll it actually. Sorry. One for that, maybe. Come on. Okay. Well, those are pretty horrible rolls. Okay, so they have whatever he has. He has Militech corporate security onesie type not onesie, but uniform type things for that fit. He does not have them for facility, but he does have one for Impulse, for Mirage, I should say. Basically, he has one for everybody, but he doesn't have one big enough to fit facility for Militech.
Shame.
Yes. For For Arasaka, he has one that will fit each of you. Of course, you're looking at doing the Militech job right now, but he will have one. He does have one that fits everybody. Facility, he will tell you he has been trying to acquire one. He's been planning this for a long time. And he's been trying to acquire one for you for almost a year. But short of having one made, which he's checked into but had trouble getting the right cut, right material and stuff to make it look right. And you may or may not can pick up that he's been trying for a year to get one that would fit you when you haven't even been here that long. So anyway, so that's what you got. You got the Militech security outfits. Is that the kind of thing you were looking for? Am I in the right direction? Or were you looking for something more generic?
Yeah, something more generic.
Okay. He will have the well, again. Let's see. Jeez. A generic one he doesn't have, but after he's talking to you about it, if that's what you guys want, he can get him in. That's something he can have delivered here pretty quick.
How quick?
He will jack in and check.
Because what I'm thinking, at least if he's got the Arasaka ones that are in, different in different sizes, in Vasily size, we could use the Arasaka ones. Like, it depends how you want to go about it, really. We could use the Arasaka ones for the Militech job and stir up more shit, or we could use the Militech ones for the Militech job and
right.
try
to be a little more stealthy. Yeah. It will take about 45 minutes to an hour, and he'd be able to have the more generic corporate wear type available. Which was this thing started around midnight. Your your interview was probably 30 or 40 minutes altogether with the Colonel, 45 minutes. So we're going to be pushing 1 a.m. when we end here in a moment.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you want to wait for that, it'd be pushing 2 when that stuff got there, so you know. Okay. And guys, I think I'm going to call it there for the night, for today,
Sure.
depending on what part of the world you're in. And I think we're good. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Brian, and we'll definitely be getting you involved, and we'll do character descriptions and all that fun stuff again next week.
Okay, sounds like a
plan. Let's see. Got that. We got that all set. Okay, I think we're good, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry for the late start, everyone. That stuff, work, and family got maybe late, and then work maybe even later.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes before I was gonna be, it was after going to be right about 10, about 10 minutes to 10 before I actually even got to my desk to start setting up and stuff for the stream, and then I get a work call. So, which actually I never heard back if she got it figured out as the trouble we were having, because she ended up having to call calling support for Sage, accounting software. But anyway, okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody being here.
Thank you.
Talk to you on Discord in between, and if nothing, I'll see you next week.
Sure.
Okay.
See you
All
next week.
right. Thank you, guys.
See you next week.
See you.